Hey, it's Tuesday. We're back with another question. I've been thinking about death. Not capital D death per se, but a little bit about that. I've been thinking a little more about the small deaths that you live in your daily life, where you let the things that you don't actually care about kind of sit at the forefront of your mind or your experience of the day. I'm in a weird life period. My brother committed suicide last year. My first child was born a month later. I'm figuring out what I want to do professionally into like the middle of my 30s. Stuff's just kind of up in the air. I have good career options that I can pursue in my professional life, but a lot of the pipelines that I came from don't necessarily align with what I'm trying to do for the next 20. So I'm navigating that. I'm navigating, whatever the heck the economy is. And I'm trying to do this creative path too. I'm a poet. I'm a writer. I'm trying to fit all the pieces of myself, not just into my day, which is already hard enough, but into the arc of my life and into the arc of my family too. And of course, you got to make money. So I've been thinking about death, and it's like proximity to how you approach your life, if that makes sense, but not in a miserable way per se, but also in the way that you appreciate your life more when you realize it can end. I had a couple close calls in the army that made me think about it for sure. And also just life happens. And when people around you pass away, that's also a natural point in your life when you reflect on what yours means. I had the good fortune to come across a letter that Fyodor Dostoevsky, Fyodor Dostoevsky, I had the good fortune to come across a letter written by Fyodor Dostoevsky, the famous Russian novelist, to his brother while he was in prison. He was in prison, of course, because he associated with a group of radical academics and liberals that thought about different ways that you could perhaps run a country. The classic kind of people that think dangerous thoughts, which scares people that are clinging to power. He was sentenced to be executed, and so he sat in prison for months, eventually wasn't allowed contact with his family anymore. And long story short, there were 6 prisoners, 2 groups of 3 that were going to be executed. They brought all 6 of them out. They took 3 up to the execution ground. And while the first group went up there, Dostoevsky was experiencing what he believed to be his final moments. Before the first group was executed, a stay came down. They shifted the death sentences to prison sentences. One guy, I think, got pardoned. But Dostoevsky went from I'm going to die in the next 30 minutes to, oh my gosh, I'm alive. Yeah, I got to be in prison for 4 years, and yeah, I got to go be in the army afterwards, but I'm not dead, and I get to keep living my life. And so he wrote this letter to his brother after he thought he was going to die and then found out that he wasn't. Naturally, he had a brand new lease on his life. It's a great letter. I'm going to link it below. He's worried that his brother had heard he was going to get executed, and he felt really bad about it because he didn't want him to worry. Classic good brother stuff. Unsurprisingly, there's a ton of good writing in the letter, but he tries to get across that, yeah, he's got to go to prison, but things are pretty good now. One paragraph in particular sticks out to me, and that's what I've been reflecting on. It goes, when I look back at the past and think about how much time has been wasted in vain, how much was lost in delusions, in errors, in idleness, in ignorance of how to live, how I did not value time, how I often sinned against my heart and spirit, my heart bleeds. Life is a gift. Life is happiness. Each minute might have been an age of happiness. That last sentence hit me so hard I wrote it down on a sticky note and I got it on the monitor right here. Each minute might have been an age of happiness. Obviously, bad stuff happens. There's gonna be hard times. There's gonna be strife, and there's gonna be days where you feel like crap. But how many of our moments have been like wrapped up in this self-pity when it could have just been another age of happiness? I know feeling bad has its place. I actually think it's a really important and healthy thing to feel. But the question I'm sitting on this week is how many of my minutes not only could have, but should have been ages of happiness today? I suspect when I'm really honest with myself about the micro pieces of my day, there's going to be more moments than I'm comfortable with that I could have just had a better time. I don't know what the truth is right now, though. I'm going to let this sit in the lived-in reality of my life for a few days. I'll be back on Friday to let you know how many, if any, ages of happiness were sacrificed at the altar of being miserable for no reason. See you there.